Right. And anyone else? See, like if I start off with, right, so Excel, when I say, right, it's an application, right, which is used by which which is used and which will be used by all of us, right, whenever we work on any of the companies in any of the fields we work, right? Whether you are working into HR team, you're working into finance team, you're working into marketing, you are working into any team, right? You just name any team. Excel is something which will be used by all of us on a daily basis. And when it comes to data analytics, so I will say, right, Excel is like the main tool which we all should understand very well, because what happened is like any of the data analysis, data cleansing, data visualization, all these things actually start off with Excel only in any of the project. Correct. Excel has very wide use cases which most of the people have not even explored, right? So if I tell you, right, what are the basic things we can use Excel for, right? If I just name it, you can use Excel for storing the data. You can use the Excel for manipulating the data. You can use Excel for analyzing the data. You can use the Excel for creating visualizations. You can use it for creating dashboards. You can use Excel for doing predictive modeling, right? You can do predictions also using the Excel, not very advanced, but the basic ones. Right now, these are the different type of areas where this Excel can be now used for. And for using all these things, right, Excel provides you a lot of features, right? You will find the features of formulas and functions, right? You will find charts. You will find pivot tables. You will have statistics. And in fact, if you want, you can also do the automation on the Excel. Automation of Excel tasks can also be done with the help of VBA. VBA is a coding, right? So we have to learn the coding for this. VBA coding, which we do on the Excel, with which you can do certain automation of the task, as in the activities that you do on a daily basis. So without you doing them manually, you can write a code for the same, and you just have to run the code on a daily basis to get the task done now. Right. So these are wide variety of the things that we can do in the Excel now. Okay. So let's get started on this. Okay. So now when we start off with Excel now, right? So these are all the things that we're going to explore in this training session as well, like how we can do all these things with the help of the Excel. Okay. So for using the Excel, the first thing is you all need to have an application, right? You need to have an application of Excel, right? That is provided by the Microsoft. I hope all of you have this Excel installed with you, right? And when you open this Excel application, what we open is we open the Excel workbook, right? This file that I have opened up over here, this we call it as an Excel workbook now. Okay. In workbook, you have multiple worksheets. So if you will see right now over here, this is a workbook that we have opened up, Excel workbook. Within this Excel workbook, there are sheets that we have. Okay. And you can add as many sheets as you want inside it. These are the different sheets that you can have in the Excel. So this is basically this. I'm just talking about the structure of the Excel that we have, right? You have a workbook, and within the workbook you have worksheets, and within the worksheets what you have is you have cells. Okay, so these are called as cells over here, and multiple cells together are called as range. Multiple cells together are called range. Okay, now this is what we have as a structure that we of the Excel that we have with us. Now on this over here, first of all, let's try to understand this cells and this structure. What do we call all these things over here, right? So when you open this Excel, when you are in the worksheet, at the top that you see over here, this is called as ribbon of the Excel, right? This is called as ribbon. And like the good thing about Microsoft is like, when you use any type of different the Microsoft applications, right? If you use, say, suppose you are using Word, or you are using Outlook, or you are using PowerPoint, you will find, this ribbon is quite similar everywhere, right? This ribbon turns out to be quite similar. Definitely options are different depending on the tool that you're going to use. But most of the options you will find inside them, they are going to be the same. I mean, the look and feel of this ribbon is going to be same. Within this ribbon, these are called as tabs. Home tab, insert tab, right? Page layout tab. So these are called as tabs over here, right? So within ribbon, we have tabs. And within each tab, you have groups, right? You see these are group: font group, alignment group, number group, styles group, right? So within ribbons, we have tabs, and within tabs, we have groups. And within each group, there are different options that we will find over here, right? You have the bold, italics. I mean, we'll be talking about what these all options are. So this is how we define the things. Then you will see over here there is a name box. This is called as a name box. Now, what is a name box? Name box is, this gives you the address of the cell. Okay, so what is address now? See over here, these are called as columns, these are called as rows. Okay, so you have columns and rows. So any idea how many rows do we have in Excel? Anyone? Right, so how many these rows that we have, like 1 2 3? So we have 10 lakh 48,576 rows. So these are the number of rows that we have. 10 lakh 48,576. Okay. So now, what do you all think? Are these number of rows good enough, or they are less, or they are more? What do you all feel? Are they enough for any business, or they are less?
I think it depends on business. For few things, it might be less. For few things, it's more.
Correct. Right. So basically, it depends from business to business. So for example, if you talk about very heavy data-driven businesses, right? So you have like the data-driven businesses that you have, right? The e-commerce business, right? Retail business. Now these are some business which generate very heavy data, right? Like if you talk of Amazon, now million of transactions are happening on a daily basis on the Amazon platform. The same thing happen in the retail, right? If you talk about Walmart, Walmart would be selling, like it would be entertaining again millions of customers on a daily basis. So for such firms, right, definitely these 10 lakh 48,576 crores are less, right? So they cannot rely on Excel to store the data. But yes, it doesn't mean that they won't be using Excel at all. Definitely Excel would be used by them. Okay. And secondly, what you have is, if you take a look at it, there are certain businesses, right, like the HR teams, right, finance teams. Now, rarely, company has 10 lakh employees. They have to maintain the data of employees. There would be 5,000, 7,000, 10,000 employees. So those type of data can be easily maintained in Excel as well. Okay. So this is how, basically a data is, this is how basically the data is, this is how this Excel can be, useful for a business for number of rows and the columns. Now, when you talk about rows, these are the number of rows that you have. And when you talk about columns are 16,384. These are the maximum number of columns that you can have in an Excel. Okay, 16,384. These are the maximum number of columns that you can have. And these are the rows, these are the columns. This is the limit. Now, any cell that you select, any cell that you're going to select over here, if you select this cell over here, now this particular cell has an address, right? Address is given by first the column name, then the row number, right? This is the cell number G8. Okay, this is the cell number G8. So first you get the column number, then you get the row number, column name and row number. That is what you get in the row number, the name box, right? So that is what you have in the name box over here. You see on this. Okay, the name box gives you the address of that cell that you have selected. And over here, this part, this section over here, this is something that you call it as a name box. A name box means, sorry, this is called as a formula bar. Formula bar is basically whatever you have written in a cell, you can see that over here. Okay, so you can see that value over here. So this is called as a name box. I hope this is clear to all of you. This is the basic structure of the Excel that we follow now. So now what we do over here is, if I create a small data over here, okay, I'm going to create a data. Suppose I want to store the name, I want to store the age, salary, and the date of joining. These are four things I want to store about the employees. Suppose the name of the employee is Sam, Harry, Tom. Age of the salary is 21, 22, 23. Salary is 10,000, 12,000, 14,000. And we have the date of joining. 1st Jan 2021, right? 1st of Feb 2021 and 1st of March 2021. Right? So I request you all to please store this data, create this small data in your Excel. Okay. Now, over here, Excel has a limitation, right? I would like to talk about, first of all, Excel has a limitation. What's that limitation? One is rows that we have seen. Second, data can be unstructured, right? So when you store the data in an Excel, the data can be unstructured. Okay. For example, in the age where I've written 21, 22, 23, I can actually write something like a text also over here, right? This is where a trouble happens with the Excel now, right? You can't maintain the structure. Like if you want it in a column, you should have only numerical data. So sometimes you can get stuck, right? That you might not just be able to store the numerical data inside that, right? That is where you have a limitation within Excel now over here. Okay. So now over here, if you want to do some basic formatting, right? So we will go some tab by tab over here and we will try to see some of these option over here right now. So if you have to do the formatting in the Excel, if you come in the home tab, now home tab is something where you will just find stuff related to the formatting. Suppose you want to make the text bold, right? You have the bold option. You want to change the font. You want to increase the font size, decrease the font size. So all the formatting options related to the font are available over here. So you can select the range, right? Like these are the headers. You can press shift key and right arrow and you can select the range. And you want to make it bold. You want to increase the font size, right? Decrease the font size, change the font style. You can do all those things from here. Okay. Right. If you come over here, right, you want to underline something, you can do this also, right? You want to apply some borders, you can select the range. You have this borders you can apply, right? All borders. So there are a number of variety of borders that you can apply over here, right? You want to apply the border at the bottom, top border, left border, right border, no border. You want to remove the borders, so you can remove them as well. So there are a lot of options to apply the borders itself over here. Underline, you want to underline single or you want to underline double, so you can do that as well. Okay. Over here you will find the option that to the for the alignment now, right? So for example, these are the names. You want to make them center aligned, right? You can do that. Left aligned, right aligned, so that alignment can be changed from here. These are top, bottom and center. So these are the alignment options. These are the options to alignment at the angle now, right? Vertically you want to convert the text. You want to keep the text as uh, you know uh, the rotate it up, right? You want to rotate it down. So these are the options that you will find over here. Okay. So these are the options that you will find to change the data, right? You can rotate the data at the angle, right? So these options can be found over here. Right? So this you can find over here now. Right? So in this Excel, Excel is not about shortcuts also. So I will keep telling you some shortcuts over here. So please do start using them as well. Right? So for example, when you have to select this range, you would be pressing Shift right arrow arrow arrow. Right? You can use a shortcut Control Shift right arrow. Okay, if you will use this Control Shift right arrow, so it will select the range right away, right? Control Shift right arrow up till the right. If you want to select the things up till the down, press Control Shift down arrow. It will select the data up till the last in the downward direction. Okay. Control plus Shift plus arrow. So whatsoever arrow you use, left arrow, right arrow, up or down arrow, it is going to select that in that direction. Okay. So please try this, everyone. Control Shift right arrow or Control Shift down arrow. And if you will press Control plus arrow, right? If you press Control plus arrow, what that does is it takes you to the last cell. It is going to take you to the last cell. Okay. Control Shift makes the selection. Control arrow takes you to this the last cell in that case. Okay. So now when I enter this data over here, did you all notice something? Let me see who can answer that. Right? When I have entered this data in these cells, do you all have any observation over here? Just have a look at it.
Sorry, Amit. What happens if we click Control plus arrow?
See, Control plus arrow is like, suppose you are in this cell. Okay. If you press Control plus down arrow, it takes you to the last cell where till the data is there. If you press Control right arrow, it takes you to the right side, the last cell where you have the data. But when you press Control Shift and arrow, it selects also. It does the selection as well.
Control Shift arrow is working, but Control and arrow is not working.
No, it will work if you are in this cell, I'm in this cell. If you press Control down arrow, it takes you to the last name. You see, it goes from name to Tom. Just the cursor, if you will see, the cursor is jumping.
For me, it's maximizing the Excel. So now I'm like putting two tabs like the Zoom tab and Excel tab. For me, it's minimizing Zoom and maximizing Excel.
Can you share the screen if possible?
Sure. See, this is, can you see?
Yes, you're using Mac.
Yeah.
You know, over there it could be a little different option that you might have.
Okay. Okay.
So some of the shortcuts are different in the Mac a little bit. So you're using
Oh,
the command button only, right? Command and arrow over here.
right. I'm
So
using control actually, control and arrow. So do you
can you
want me
try
to
with,
try with the command?
just can you try that with them?
Oh yeah, with command it's working. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, let me.
This shows. See, now if you all will take a look over here in this data, right? So there is some alignment that you all will see. See where I have entered the text data, right? This is where I have entered the text. So when you enter text data, okay, so what happens that over there is text data always comes left aligned. Numerical data always comes right aligned. Okay, just have a look at it. See, if just try to write something, if I write morning, comes left aligned. If I write number, it comes right aligned, right?
So even alphanumeric also comes right aligned, right?
Left aligned.
Left
If it's
aligned.
alphanumeric, suppose if I say ABC 1, 2, 3, left aligned, because it becomes a text now. I can't do any mathematical calculation on this. I can't find the sum of this or average of such numbers.
Okay.
Right? So what about the date now? So if you see right now, date is also coming right aligned. Correct? So is data text or data number? Or
It's a
date is a
string.
different.
It's a
Date. It's a
it's a
date
string.
format.
It's a
So,
basically so it's a combination.
no. So basically what happened is dates are stored as numbers in Excel. Okay, that is why you see they are coming right aligned. See, because what happened is now date is something which can have variety of formats, right? Dates can have formats. So for example, you can write the date as like, first, if suppose the date is 2nd of Jan 2021. Okay, this is 2nd Jan. Now some people write MMDD format, some write DDMM format. And if you go in the date, what you can also do is you can change the format of the date as well, right? You can make it long date, right? You can make a short date. So there are a number of formats that can be applied on the date now, correct? So now if you're applying those different formats, and if I share this file with you, right? Because by default, what happens is Excel is going to use the date format that you have on your system. If on your system you have month, day, and year, so by default, Excel shows the date in that same format, right? So because dates can have variety of formats, right? So how you can apply the format? You have any date, click on this date over here, you can make it long date, right? A date can be written like this. Monday, March, right? This. So date can have variety of formats. So that is why what happen is dates are stored as numbers. Now, what are those numbers? So basically, the earliest date that we have in Excel is that is 1st Jan 1900. Okay. The earliest date, right? The earliest date, the latest, the date that we have in Excel is that is 1st Jan 1900. this date is stored as number 1. Okay, this date is stored as number 1. So as you now, if you talk about second, all just give me 1 second. Sorry, yeah, right. So basically what happened is the dates are stored as number in Excel. So 1st Jan 1900 is stored as number 1, right? If you will see the 2nd of Jan 1900, that is stored as a number 2. Okay. So, numbers in Excel, they play a very important role. So because, numbers can be currency also, right? Because if I have written over here 100, now this can be $100, right? This can be $100. This can be currency. So you can select currency from here. So currency, correct? So that is where, on the numbers, you will see different type of formats that can be applied. So date is also one of them. So this number is stored as number 2. How can I see that number now? See, select the date, come over here. In this date section. And if you click on this, you can change it into a number. See, this change gets changed into a number over here. If I come over here and I change this also into a number, this becomes 1, right? Similarly, if you have a written number 3 over here, and if I change this from here into a date, I say that I want to convert this number into a date. See, it becomes 3rd of Jan. Right?
So what do you mean by like first date in Excel is Jan 1st, 1900?
This is the earliest date that you can store over here in Excel.
So
Right?
so it doesn't score, it doesn't store anything before that?
I mean, see, if you see over here, right? If you write this over here now, 1st Jan 1800. Okay. So this is now has become a text. So you cannot store a date before 1st Jan 1900. That is the oldest date, the first date that you can have in Excel.
Okay.
It doesn't recognize the dates before that.
Oh.
Now, if I talk about today's date, okay, if I talk about today's date, what number will be that? So can I say it will be a number that is the number of days that have passed since 1st Jan 1900? Right? Because what Excel is doing is just incrementing the numbers. 1st Jan in 1900 is stored as number 1. And since then, the days, the numbers are just getting incremented. So like 30th Jan 1900 will be stored as number 30. 31st Jan will be stored as 31. 1st of Feb will be stored as 32. So that number is just getting incremented. So that means if I convert this into a number, that is today's date, that is
44,460.
right? That means these many number of days have passed since this date. If you suppose make it 461 and you change this into back into a date, it will be tomorrow's date, 22nd. Okay, is this clear to all of you? Because from the date, we will be also learning how we will be applying certain functions. You can extract the year, quarter, month, day, difference between the dates. So there's a lot of stuff that can be done on the dates now. Now, if you come over here, right? So in this Excel, you will find these options. Let do this. Again, these are more like you want to convert something into a currency. You have the symbols for that, right? You want to convert a number into a percentage. You can do that, right? So, for example, I want to write over here. These are the bonus that I am giving to the people, right? Suppose the bonus is 10, 12, and 15, right? So you want to convert them into the percent. Actually, you should not percent basically multiplies with the 100 also. So 1.2, 1.5. Suppose actually 0.1, 0.1, 0.12, 0.15. These are the bonuses. If you want to convert them into the percentage, you have the percentages, right? Because percentage multiplies the number with 100 over there. So you can apply some percentages. You want to apply some commas, right? This is the data that you have. You want to apply some commas. You can put that commas. Decimals will also come up. Right? Any question, anyone up to here? Now, if you want to delete some data, you want to insert some rows and all, if you have to do all those kind of things, you will find the options over here for that, right? So like, for example, what you want to do is, you are in this data, right? You want to insert a row. In the row number 3, suppose you want to insert a row. So you can right click over here and you can say insert, right? So a row will be inserted. Suppose you want to add the name of the person over here. Suppose the name of the person is Cherry, right? 23 salaries 11,000, right? And the date of joining you have over here. So you can do that. You want to delete a row, again you can do the same thing, select it, right click, and you can delete it. If you don't want it, you can delete that as well. Okay. Now similarly, right, if you select this data, right, now there is a very common requirement that comes in, that is of sorting the data, right? Suppose this is the data, I want to store the names. I want to sort this data by names, right? So how I have selected this data, see, again, I will be putting a lot of focus on the shortcuts. Press Control Shift down arrow, Control Shift right arrow. It selects that data right away. The shortcuts might look little tedious right now, but once you will become habitual to them, so you will be able to use them very quickly. Control Shift down arrow, Control Shift right arrow. Okay. So what you do is, if you select this data, you can find the option of sorting. See, if you say sort A to Z, so by default, what actually Excel is going to do, it is going to sort the data by first column. See, if you say sort A to Z, the data is sorted, Harry, Sam, and Tom. Data is coming in the sorted sequence of names over here, right? Select this range, sort A to Z. If suppose similarly you come over here and you say you want to sort the data Z to A, it becomes Tom, Sam, and Harry. So complete the data. So Excel is able to understand that the first row is the header. It is able to understand that. Okay. Now the requirement might come up, right? You don't want to sort the data by name. You want to sort the data by salary, right? So what you do in that case is you will have to choose custom sort. See, by default, it is going to sort the data by first column. But if you say custom sort, in that scenario, you will be sorting the data based on whatever column you feel, right? You want to sort the data by salary, or you want to sort the data by age, or whatsoever. you can select that. Suppose you say you want to sort the data by salary. Now, largest to smallest or smallest to largest. You can click on OK over there. So now you see the data comes in the sequence of salary now. Okay. Is the sorting clear to all of you?
Yes.
Okay. So all I think we'll keep the stuff up till here for today, right? And we'll take up the things ahead tomorrow from here, right? So we'll move to a little more uh, advanced part of this. Okay, that is how we'll take it up. And in the meantime, what I'll do is just give me a second. I'm just sharing a deck with you over the chat itself. So this is just, you will find some shortcuts and stuff to the Excel over here. So I'm just sharing that deck on this, right? Over the chat, I just shared it. You will just receive it in a second. So did you all receive this deck on the PowerPoint on the chat?
Yeah, we can see that.
So you can use this, right? It just has some basics, all the options that we were talking about, some shortcuts you will find in this, rows, columns, all those things that we were talking about. So you will find the things related to that. So you can just go through it, spend some time, 10-15 minutes only, you will be able to go through it. Not a very verbose type of PowerPoint over there. Okay. So tomorrow I will be talking about how we do the conditional formattings, how we will be talking about cell references, and a lot more other stuff. So let's take tomorrow then from here. Okay. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Amit.
Thank you.
Recording, it will be uploaded, yeah. So you will get an email for that. So you will get the recording. And I can share this as well. This also that we use. Just doing that. Yeah.
So tomorrow class will be at the same time?
I think, oh, sorry, my file is open. I was not sharing it. Just a second. Uh, yeah, so day one file also I will share. Right. Okay, recording, you will get this. It takes a little time for the conversion and all. So that you will receive in some time. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Yeah. Then let's go tomorrow from now. Okay.